out of the room, and his eyes were all teary. That's what I'm like, what happened? Tell me what happened. What's wrong? So he sits on the sofa. I turn off the TV, and then he just says that.
I think it's 126.
26.
What happened, man? What happened? Like the straight up, what happened?
So I was putting the signs up where there was an event going on
At the college.
In this true crime documentary, we uncover one of the most chilling and heartbreaking disappearances to ever shake the quiet city of Bend, Oregon. The case of 23-year-old Kay Sawyer. It still doesn't feel real, even
Last
after all
night
this
I got
time.
home from the bars with my
A year and a
girlfriend.
half later,
She got upset at me and ran off.
they still catch
And I
themselves
chased her and wasn't able to find her, and I
waiting to
still
hear
haven't
keys
heard
at
from
the
her. Her
door
phone's
or
off.
her footsteps on the stairs.
I called all her family and they haven't
There's a
heard
part
from
of
her,
the
so I'm
mind
wondering
that
what you
refuses to
recommend I do.
accept it.
We can
It
put in a
keeps
call and we
whispering she
can
might just walk back in any second.
have officers or deputies
But she never
look
did.
for her.
And when police finally delivered the news, they used a word no one ever wants to hear: unrecognizable. That one word shattered everything. It meant there would be no goodbye, no final hug, no way to make sense of what had happened. Our story begins in Bend, a postcard-perfect Oregon town framed by rivers, pine forests, and wide blue skies. To anyone visiting, it looked like the last place something terrible could happen. And yet, beneath that calm surface, a night of celebration would soon turn into a nightmare. Kay Sawyer had grown up here. She was the oldest of her siblings. Bright, outgoing, the kind of person who could make a stranger laugh within minutes. Friends said she brought energy wherever she went, always smiling, always in motion. At 23, she was working as a dental assistant, sharing an apartment with her boyfriend of 2 years, Cameron, and finally settling into adult life. On the evening of July 23, 2016, Kay joined a group of close friends for a bachelorette party. The night was full of music, laughter, and too many drinks, a carefree celebration that should have ended safely. But as the night wore on, Kay began playfully dancing with another man, a small moment that would spiral into something far darker. One of Cameron's friends saw her and sent him a message that Kay didn't look well, that she was getting too close to someone else. Cameron rushed out to bring her home. What started as a fun night quickly turned tense in the car ride back. Their argument grew louder, heavier, echoing through the small apartment complex near Central Oregon Community College. When they parked, Kay got out. Cameron stormed upstairs, frustrated and exhausted. 10 minutes later, he came back down. But she was gone. At first, it didn't seem alarming. Kay had walked off before during arguments, usually to cool down. But as the minutes turned to hours and her phone stopped responding, that familiar calm began to crumble. He texted her again and again. "Please come upstairs. It's late. Let's just talk." Her last message came quietly. "My phone's about to die." After that, silence. By morning, her phone went straight to voicemail. Her car was still parked at her friend's house. Her family's unease turned to panic. That same afternoon, Cameron and Kay's mother finally called the police. "Dispatch. Can I help you?" Cameron. Yeah. I'm not sure if this is the right number. My girlfriend. She ran off last night after an argument. I can't find her. Her phone's off. I've called everyone. Nobody's heard from her dispatcher. All right. We'll put out a call. We can have officers start looking for her. The search began immediately. Flyers appeared across town. Friends, volunteers, and even strangers combed through fields and parking lots, desperate for any trace of her. But days turned into weeks, and hope began to fade. Surveillance footage showed Cameron returning home alone that night, while Kay remained sitting in the car. Moments later, she stepped out, walking into the dark, and then nothing. That was the last time anyone ever saw her alive. By the next day, local news stations had picked up the story. The disappearance of Kay Sawyer spread across Oregon, igniting a search effort and setting off a chain of discoveries that no one could have predicted. The alerts went out across Bend before sunset. Anchors spoke with the urgency of a city holding its breath. A 23-year-old woman missing, last seen near a West Side apartment lot, walking toward the community college just after 1 a.m. Flyers appeared in shop windows and at trailheads. On social media, her smile multiplied across timelines. At a small home on the West Side, a rookie police officer, Isabel Pontalara, watched the coverage. She wondered how soon she would be rotated onto the search grid: riverbanks, parking pullouts, storm drain inlets. Her husband, Edwin Lara, a 31-year-old campus safety officer, drifted past the television and paused. His face had the washed-out look of someone who hadn't slept. When Isabel asked what was wrong, he said, flat and unreal, that he had hit someone with a vehicle and fled. Before she could pass the words, he moved with sudden purpose, opened her bag, removed her duty handgun, snatched her keys. "I have to go," he said, already backing down the driveway. The door banged, the engine coughed to life, and then he was gone. Training overruled shock. Isabel drove to the station and told the watch commander exactly what she'd seen and heard. Within the hour, officers surrounded the couple's rental and began a methodical search. In a backyard shed, they found a white trash bag, high-heeled shoes, a purse, a stone streaked with brown stains, and a clump of hair matted to fabric. The temperature of the case dropped. What began as a missing person search now suggested an assault that had turned fatal. Tips flooded the dispatch consoles. 2 witnesses reported a man matching Edwin's description, steering a hesitant young woman toward a car late at night in a retail lot. She didn't scream, but her posture read confusion and fear. The woman was identified as 19-year-old Andrea Andy M., a T-Mobile employee just off a 12-hour shift. Investigators now faced a sickening equation: one victim missing, another abducted, and a suspect with experience in patrol patterns and radio habits. By the time detectives pinged Andrea's phone, the signal was already slipping south along US 97, then west to I-5. Near midnight, a rural motel clerk would later recall a nervous man paying cash and a young woman keeping her eyes down. Andrea told police later that he cuffed her to a bathroom handle while he showered. She talked to him through the door, about family, about her own struggles, anything to be seen as human, to slow whatever plan he was forming. That night, she said, he did not assault her. At first light, a camera above the office caught them leaving. The car merged back onto the interstate and blinked out of traffic cameras for a few hours. Then, chaos flared. In a California town north of Sacramento, a store owner dialed 911. A robbery gone sideways, a gunshot, a man down but alive. The description pointed north and included a young woman with him, frightened and compliant. Minutes later, another call. A grandmother and 2 grandsons carjacked at a gas station. The armed man made one of the teenagers drive while he kept the others in view, then pushed the family out on the shoulder and sped away with the young woman still beside him. He told her to sit upright and keep her hands visible. She did exactly what he said. Then the fugitive posted a video to social media from the passenger seat of Andrea's car. His voice was oddly calm, rehearsed, and rambling at once. He apologized. He mentioned a girl in Central Oregon. He insisted Andrea was unharmed and asked police not to shoot. He used a word no one wanted to hear: killed. Detectives watching the clip in real time felt the ground tilt, both confession and manipulation, a man trying to control the narrative at freeway speed. Near Redding, a highway patrol helicopter found them. Sirens braided with rotor chop as troopers closed in. The speedometer climbed. In the din, Edwin dialed 911 and announced himself. The man in the white sedan on I-5. Wanted in Oregon, armed, driving with a kidnapped woman named Andrea. He said he would stop at the next town, not before. On the recorded line, he swung between bravado and pleading, asking dispatch to tell the cruisers not to fire, offering to toss the gun, suggesting he could hand it to Andrea. The dispatcher kept him talking, kept him moving, kept him from turning the chaos into another collision. They boxed him in at an exit. Doors opened, hands rose, and the standoff ended without a shot. Andrea stepped away from the car, shaking, but alive. Edwin Lara went to the ground, cuffed and silent. Relief washed through 2 states, then receded as fast as it came. A suspect in custody was only a beginning. Detectives exhaled, looked toward Bend. The search would intensify overnight. Kay was still missing. In an interview room, fluorescent lights hummed and a recorder blinked. Detectives from Oregon sat across from Edwin and began with the only question that mattered to a family. Where is Kay? The sergeant's voice stayed even. The questions were short. Edwin asked to tell the story. He described a late-night turn, a figure in dark clothing, a bump, panic. His language softened cause and blurred intent. The interrogator pressed. He listed the choices that followed: the phone taken, the purse demanded, the drive to another location. He said what those steps mean. You kept her from calling for help. You kept her from identifying you. You chose to silence her. Edwin did not raise his voice. He traced a route from memory, highways, a pullout, off Highway 126, a stand of trees, and sketched it on a map. Then the legal floor shifted. Edwin had asked for a lawyer when California troopers stopped him. That invocation meant much of his statement could not be used in court. The confession that should have sealed the case was cordoned off. For a day, it felt like the prosecution had been handed an outline with key pages missing. But evidence remains even when words are suppressed. Detectives had the shed and what lay inside it. Belongings that did not belong, biological traces that answered questions science asks. They had surveillance showing Kay stepping out alone and Edwin moving soon after. They had Andrea's account of hours in a car with a man unraveling, and a string of crimes along the corridor that matched his gun, his voice, his movements. Witnesses in parking lots remembered faces and times. Clerks had receipts. Plate readers stitched the path south. Convenience cameras caught entries and exits. ATM logs marked attempts that fit the clock. Cell records pinned Andrea's phone to the same corridor as the fleeing car. Fuel purchases bridged the gaps between towns. The pattern was impossible to ignore. Another puzzle piece sat on the passenger seat of a car abandoned in Salem. A folded slip of paper with the number 18,700 written twice. No arrows, no inked X. Investigators read it as a breadcrumb tied to Highway 126. Search teams spread out to mileposts and pullouts where fur gives way to open ground. There, off the asphalt, they found her. No attempt at concealment, no disguise. Just a place where a life had been stopped and left. The medical examiner's report was clinical and unsparing. It documented blunt force injuries and asphyxial mechanisms. It recorded sexual assault without lingering on detail. The sequence was fixed as best as science could, giving prosecutors a spine for the case that did not rely on a contested statement. When detectives met with Kay's parents, they avoided euphemism. They answered what could be answered and did not fill the rest with easy words. Andrea's testimony helped the jury see risk beyond one night in Bend. She described the cuffs on a bathroom handle at a roadside motel, the bargaining at a gas station, the way he used her presence to hold police at bay. She told them about the social media video and the 911 call, the repeated lines. "Don't shoot, she's fine. I'm not that kind of guy." Jurors were asked to decide what kind of man the evidence showed when no one was listening but him. Charges arrived in layers: aggravated murder, kidnapping, unlawful use of a weapon, and related counts in 2 states. The defense pushed suppression issues. The court held hearings on what could be heard and what had to be ignored. The judge ruled. The calendar advanced. Benches filled with neighbours. Reporters refreshed feeds. Along the river, a small memorial kept gathering flowers and handwritten notes that bled in the rain and were pinned up again. There is no version of justice that repairs July 23rd, 2016. Sentencing can only write numbers on a calendar. It cannot run the clock in reverse. But truth has a role, and so does accountability. In the end, investigators rebuilt the night minute by minute. They walked jurors through the shed, the motel, the gas station, the note with its stubborn digits, the pull-out where the search line finally stopped. They let the photographs speak and then folded them away. Kay's name remained the last word. In court and on air, people said it the way you would hold a photograph. Carefully, with both hands. After the verdict, the district attorney said the case was never about a chase video. It was about a person who deserved to grow older in the place she called home. Outside, the river kept its patient course. Flyers came down from windows, but the habit of listening for her footsteps lingers in the people who loved her. So when did you get caught? I don't even know, Edwin said quietly. His voice came through the phone line, flat and tired. Right now, I feel like all my rights are being violated. I've asked for an attorney, but none has been given to me. Static hummed. The officer on the other end reminded him the call was being recorded. Edwin said he knew. He switched briefly into Spanish, speaking softly. I'm just talking to you, babe, he told his wife. That's it. Talking to you normal. The call ended the way his story had begun, with a silence heavy enough to fill the room. In the end, Edwin Lara confessed to taking the life of Kay Sawyer. He accepted a plea deal that spared him the death penalty, but guaranteed life in prison without the possibility of parole. During sentencing, Kay's grandfather stood and faced him. His words pierced through the courtroom stillness, grief tangled with rage. You took everything, he said. You left a hole that will never close. The judge's voice followed, calm but final. Another life sentence, this one for the kidnapping of Andrea Myers, ensuring that Edwin Lara would never walk free again. Justice was served. But peace for those who loved Kay may never truly arrive. Her story remains a haunting reminder of how ordinary nights can turn into the unthinkable. Thank you for watching. If you found this case as chilling and heartbreaking as we did, please like, share, and subscribe for more true crime documentaries. We'll see you in the next story.
The relief of having him behind bars was immediate, yet investigators knew their work had only just begun. Once inside the interrogation room, the officers had one urgent goal. They needed to know where Kaylee Sawyer's body was.
Hello, sir. Hi. My name is Sergeant Beckwith. I'm Mac.
Wait, I shouldn't introduce myself because you guys know me.
We know a little bit, right? All right, so here's the thing. I just want to get to the nitty-gritty. We have not been able to find Kaylee's body. Can you please help me find her body immediately before we start talking about anything else?
Oh.
The reason why I'm asking you that is I've done this a bunch of times.
I want to tell you where the body is.
Yeah.
I do. But I want to get home first.
'Cause I don't think you're a bad guy, right? I think that things have spun completely out of control, sir. Sir, am I right? Okay.
And you know this, man.
Matt.
A man wants to do a map.
So before, can I say the story what happened first?
Yeah, as you're drawing, please, or whatever you'd like to do, sir.
Let's do the map first.
You want us to get you out of that stuff?
Highway from here.
Okay, but you asked if we can get him out of the stuff so we can
The
draw.
highway from Redmond to Salem. That's 120, right? So I was gonna turn south on the do not enter area there. And I didn't see her, she was wearing all black. So I was in a hurry, so it was my fault. And I wasn't expecting anybody, at that time of night, so I just turned and And I mean, I didn't hit her that hard. I used bumper with the patrol car, bumped her with the front rack. And she fell down. And at first I thought, first thing I was, I killed her, but I didn't hit her that hard. So I got off the car and she was really drunk. And then she looks at me and then she started screaming.
She started screaming
Yeah.
or you did?
She did. So I panicked and I just grabbed her by the throat and told her, shut up, shut up, shut up. So she passed out. I put her on the back of the patrol car, drove her up the B12 lot, and then I was panicking. I didn't know what to do. She already seen me. She saw my face. So I opened the door, and that's when she came back. She started screaming again. So I grabbed her to chokehold. And I was telling her, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. She was just struggling to scream. So I threw her down and my head was a rock on the head. After that, I dragged her body behind a tree there and I hit her with another rock. And that's when I think she died because I heard her breathing, her last breath.
So a couple things you need to understand, and we're finally getting to the real problem here, we really are, is you knew she was never getting out the car the moment you shut that door. Well, let me finish. You need to let me finish, right? Because I know this, okay? Because you said you were a hooker. She's like, no. Immediately you go to give me your purse and your phone.
Well, I knew she wasn't going to get out.
She wasn't gonna survive that encounter, was she?
No.
Because you can't rape her and let her live, can you?
And she can't make a phone call if you have it.
I wasn't going to rape her.
Well, you can't let her live.
Edwin, we're missing something here, man.
Look, yeah, I know what you guys are thinking, and it makes perfect sense. It does.
Because
Why would you
I know
ask?
where you
Why
got-
would you ask for her purse? What was in your head that made you want her purse?
Because,
Just in case she had a gun, she could defend herself.
She was going to use her phone.
to call 911, call for help.
So, but listen to this. According to your story, this is where it does not make sense. If your intent isn't already there to do some kind of harm or some kind of evil to her, some friggin' evil that's there, bro. It's there. You just gotta face it down, man. You can't cower away from it. You face that damn thing down right now. If you know the only way, if you don't have intent in her head, your thought is, I gotta keep that phone away from her because she's gonna call for help before anything bad's even happened. You've already made a decision. Am I right or am I wrong? Tell me.
So I made the decision at that time to silence her.
To kill her. Let's be real. When you say silence her, you mean kill her. Is that correct?
Because
When did you make that decision?
when she started screaming, because she had seen my face.
But you already grabbed her phone. You already kept her away from making a call for help or contacting someone. So you're already preserving yourself. So I'm thinking it's before, when you ask for the purse, I think you already know in your head, I'm going to silence her. I'm going to kill her. The sound that you heard after the strike of the first rock, before you hit her with the second, is agonal breathing, and you know this. It's the sound of life leaving her body. It's the sound of the life God breathed into her, leaving her, and her life being no more, going away, being done. It's the sound of everyone loving her, mourning. It's the sound of her blood crying out from the friggin' earth. Right? You know this. It's Cain and Abel. No. No. You know what it is? You need to hear it though. Okay? I respect you enough, Edwin, at this point, that I've asked you for detail, and now I'm going to give you my own. Okay? Those are the cold, hard facts. Does God still love you? Will He forgive you? Will He bring you back into His heart? Will He? Questions you have to answer for yourself. But the truth of the matter is that her blood cries out, man. that her life is gone. It will never be replaced. The truth of the fact is this: what you mistook for a hooker was an absolute angel, was the apple of her mom and dad's eye, was the breath that they breathed, that they spent and cultivated all their life raising and growing. And she is gone forever with your semen all over her. That's the truth, man. Okay? It's brutal. It's hard to say. It's hard to sit in here. But you got to face it before you can look your God in the eye and ask for that forgiveness and be able to receive it.
I think all throughout my life, I have struggled with somehow the urge to kill.
Is this addressed to Dad?
Yeah, the last one is for suicide.
Okay. I think it would play pretty well on recording if we read this out loud. It might show some of your emotion. Might show.
Want me to read it?
I would love you to read it. Thank you, sir.
I've been trying to ask Katie for forgiveness, but I don't think her soul hears my crying because God doesn't allow the devil to talk to angels. However, I know Katie hears you, and if you find it within your heart, please ask her to forgive me. Please, I beg you. Please. I know that I will spend the rest of my life asking God to forgive me, but I don't think He will. Sir, this is directed to her dad. I am not sure what your name is, but I know for a fact that you love your daughter. A man like me don't have a heart. Please forgive me, sir. Please forgive me. And please ask your wife to forgive me too. I fail you. I fail my community. I fail everyone, including my family. I am really sorry.
Kaylee's body was eventually found in a chilling scene. Edwin had left behind a note in the car he abandoned in Salem before abducting Andrea Mayes. On the note, the number 18700 was written 2 times. No context, no explanation.